If we'd gotten here sooner into your consciousness in a way that you could really hear us, it would have been easier for you because you wouldn't have developed those patterns of resistance. But it does not matter how strong your pattern of resistance is. It's an easy thing to release resistance. You just have to decide that feeling good means something. Until you decide that feeling good matters, until you've decided that it's important that you feel good, you might get lost in the strong reverberation of truths. It's so true, we should make a monument about it. It was a horrible thing, but let's put up a big monument. We'll give guided tours. And when people come, we'll tell them again and again and again how bad it was. We'll do our very best to activate this horrible thing in as many people's vibration as we can. When we put it that way, it sounds sort of dumb, doesn't it? So where are the monuments of well-being? Well, they're everywhere, aren't they? Nature brings so many to you. The legacy of well-being is huge. The influx of that pure energy coming forth in every moment with the birth of the new. All of the beautiful things in your environment, the ideas that are born within you. So much evidence of well-being around you. In fact, so much more evidence of well-being around you than evidence of not well-being that you have to look pretty hard. You have to get pretty good at it. You get to be very good scrutinizers. And in large part, we think it is because you feel a need to justify your existence through your hard work. You look around and you see others, and it is a comparative nature that you are born with because you are leading edge creators. The contrast is what helps you to conclude new desire. And when that new desire is born within you, we call it step one. Fresh, new, summoning desire. Summoning because when you ask, it is always given. Summoning desire. And source hearing the calling and answering immediately. It is a marriage made in heaven, literally. And then your only work is to find alignment with your desire. And our message to you is, if you will stop justifying the need for the new desire by beating the drum of where you stand, the new desires will flow so easily into your experience. Sometimes you say, well, I'm not sure easy is so good. A little struggle makes me feel more valuable. We don't get that. We've contemplated it from every angle. We don't get that. When you get in the river, point your canoe in the direction that the current is going. It just makes sense. What do you have to prove by paddling upstream and making it harder? Well, my mother paddled upstream, her mother paddled upstream. It's just what our family does. We paddle upstream. I inherited that tendency. And we say, oh, you picked it up so recently, it's not who you really are. You understand the value of being on the leading edge. You said, I want to be part of this leading edge environment because that is where the action is. That is where the clarity is. That is where the fulfillment is. You didn't say, I'll go forth into the most backward of environment ever. You said, I'll be part of this leading edge environment and I will benefit by all that has come to be understood and known. So in the same way that you grasp the concept easily of going with the current in your canoe or getting in your automobile rather than walking everywhere you go, you understand the benefit of the technology of your time-space reality in many regards. All we are suggesting is that you out here on this leading edge of fantastic human creativity, source energy embodied in this flesh, blood, and bone body that is you, It is our powerful encouragement that you hook up with the current that is you and go with the flow. And the flow always feels good. The flow feels like love. The flow feels like enthusiasm. The flow feels like adventure. The flow feels like appreciation. The flow feels like adoration. The flow feels like, ooh, isn't that interesting? The flow feels like, ooh, isn't that beautiful? The flow feels like, what now? What next? What more? The flow feels like, ooh, I want something fun to do. The flow feels like, ooh, I want something interesting to do. The flow feels like, I do want to be of value. I want to assist others in discovering the upliftment of what being in the flow feels like. The flow feels like clarity. The flow feels like stability. The flow feels like stamina. The flow feels like unabashed enthusiasm. The flow feels like the 2-year-old shows you. Your dog running in the river shows you. There is evidence of the flow all around you. The flow is not being worried. The flow is not being angry. The flow is not fussing over some insignificant thing to try to justify your value because you already have value. The flow does not feel like sickness. It does not feel like frustration. It does not feel like overwhelmment. It does not feel like a need to justify your existence. The flow does not feel like unworthiness. The flow feels like enthusiasm. Now, all of these words that we've offered, they all sort of triggered feelings within you. You know the difference between enthusiasm and boredom. You know the difference between joy and anger. You can viscerally feel the difference that those words activate, but they are only words. The words do not mean anything. It is the way you feel that is the message that you are sending to the universe. Your emotions are your vibrational indicator that let you know. It's like a meter that in every moment lets you know the content of your vibration. And you are so gloriously mixed in that. In other words, sometimes you have a desire that when you focus upon it, shouts to the boundaries of the universe, and all that is resonates in the fabulous power of your desire. But if you've got one of those desires going and a great big wad of doubt about the same thing, I want this magnificent thing, and for a moment it was life-giving when I thought about it, but mostly I just hate that I even want it because I don't believe it at all. That feeling of discord is your indicator of the degree of resistance that you have. And there are 2 factors that give you your reading. The power of your desire summons the energy, and the degree to which you believe it or expect it allows or does not allow it. So if you really, really want something that you really, really don't believe, you've got fast-moving energy that you are not allowing to flow, and you've got strong negative emotion. The more it matters, the more you're going to feel around it. So if you feel really wonderful, it means you really want it, you've really got a current flowing, and you're really in vibrational harmony with what you want. And manifestations are popping up all around you. Evidences of the path of well-being that you are living, obvious to you. But if you are feeling strong negative emotion, it means you really want it, it really matters. Your life experience has caused you to focus a lot of energy. Energy is pulling through you in a strong way, but you've got this habit of thought that keeps being activated, that is just like the static on your radio that is keeping you from locking onto the signal. And so as you think about the thing that's taking you out of alignment, and you think, I'm not going to think this thing that's taking me out of alignment, you're still thinking the thing that's taking you out of alignment, and you're still out of alignment. And the longer you stay out of alignment, the more you manifest what you don't want, and the more you observe what you don't want, the more you continue to keep that active. And so what we want you to leave this gathering today with: 2 powerful awarenesses. 1, nothing is more important than that I feel good. And 2, I can be intimately aware in every moment of how I feel. It's easy to know how you feel. So you want to know how you feel, and you want to care how you feel. That's it. I want to know how I feel, and I want to care it. I want it to matter how I feel. Because if it doesn't matter to you, if you have practiced not feeling good long enough that that feels normal, then this gathering is not going to do much for you, because as you keep beating the drum that doesn't feel very good, you say, no big deal, I'm used to it. I'm used to it. And we say, hear what you're saying. You're saying, I'm used to the emotion. I'm used to the discord, but listen further to what you're saying. I'm used to not getting what I want. I'm used to things not going well for me. I'm used to wanting this thing that is not coming. I'm used to disappointment. I'm used to not fulfilling who I really am. I'm used to not being the deliberate creator of my own experience. I'm used to resistance. Don't get used to that. It is not who you are. You are magnificent creators. You are powerful, leading-edge creators. You are joy. You are joy in human form. You are extensions of source that is joy. Now we're fine-tuning here because we know you all already know this. You are teachers in most cases to the very core of your being. You have come forth intending to get in sync with who you really are. We just want to remind you that it is for a different reason than often you conjure as you bang around. Your reason for existence, your reason for existence is joy. Joy. Why do we do what we do? For the joy of doing it. From our perspective, it is so obvious. But of course, what would be the reason for doing anything other than for the joy of the experience? But then we recall more clearly this joy-based universe, you see. Joy. That's why we do it all. Joy, joy, joy. Well, Abraham, I thought it was for growth. Oh, well, that's a given. We can't help but expand. Too many of us having different experiences. Desire being born constantly, preference being born constantly at a cellular or fantastically developed human level. New preferences being constantly born. That cannot help but be. And Source lovingly, delicately, precisely, and perfectly answering every desire. Oh, it is so good. Growth must be, expansion must be. You cannot cease to expand. You can't stop wanting. You can't stop getting a new idea. You can't stop enhancing your experience, improving your experience. It cannot be stopped. The entire universe has been moving in this direction eternally. The most you could do to diminish any of that is to pinch off a degree of your joy. And not to worry, because if you should do such a silly thing, you would have an immediate, visceral reaction. Would feel like negative emotion to you. So as we chew here, nothing is off limits. We are happy to satisfy any curiosity, no matter how great or small it is. We're happy to give you our perspective on anything that you want to chew upon. We want to remind you that our greatest intent with every question will be to help you line up with you. And we have a wonderful awareness, not only of who you are, but we have a clear view of the desires that have emanated from you. So we have a crystal clear picture of the desire that you have identified. In other words, your future self from your preference point is known to us. And every word we speak to you is to assist you in vibrationally aligning with that. And law of attraction will take care of the rest. There isn't one thing you need to do other than line up with what you want and who you are. And that's what this gathering is about. You ready to go? Oh, you're ready to go. On the back row there, and then here. You are the one. You're surprised.